Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, by non-doing, everything gets done. Audiobook. Brought to you by Hyptoria.
Why this ancient book will change how you see everything.
Imagine discovering a 2,500-year-old manual that reveals why the softest things in nature are actually the strongest, why the best leaders never seem to be leading, and why doing less often accomplishes more than doing everything. The Tao Te Ching isn't just philosophy. It's a practical guide that flips common sense upside down and somehow makes perfect sense. Written by Lao Tzu, a mysterious sage who legend says quit his government job and rode off into the mountains on a water buffalo. This little book has quietly influenced millions for over 2 millennia. Here's what makes it fascinating. Every piece of advice sounds backwards until you try it. Want to be strong? Learn to yield. Want to lead? Put yourself last. Want to keep something? Give it away. This isn't feel-good wisdom. It's battle-tested strategy for life. Water doesn't fight rocks. It flows around them and eventually carves canyons. The Tao Te Ching teaches you to be like water in a world full of people trying to be rocks. Fair warning, once you see the world through this lens, you can't unsee it. You'll start noticing the power of emptiness, the strength in stepping back, and the strange magic that happens when you stop trying so hard to control everything. Ready to discover why millions have found wisdom in a book that celebrates doing nothing, knowing nothing, and being nobody special? Let's begin. 1. The mystery beyond words. The real way of life can't be captured in words or clever sayings. The moment you think you've figured it all out and given it a name, you've missed the point entirely. Think of it like this. When there's no label or expectation, the way is the creative force behind everything, the spark that started the universe. But when we try to define and categorize it, it becomes like a nurturing parent to all existence. Here's the secret. If you can let go of always wanting something, you'll glimpse the deep mystery. But if you're constantly chasing desires, you'll only see the surface level. These two approaches, having desires and being desireless, are really the same thing looked at from different angles. Together, they point to the ultimate mystery. And that mystery? It's the doorway to understanding everything profound and beautiful in existence. This is like trying to explain the taste of honey to someone who's never tasted it. Some things can only be experienced, not explained. 2. The dance of opposites. Everyone thinks they know what's beautiful, but that very knowing creates the concept of ugliness. Everyone admires skill, which automatically creates the idea of clumsiness. This is how life works. Existence and emptiness give birth to each other. Difficulty and ease create each other. Long and short define each other. High and low depend on each other. Musical harmony emerges from different notes, and the concepts of before and after only exist in relation to one another. This is why wise people get things done without forcing and teach without lecturing. Everything in nature grows without making a big fuss about it. Plants don't demand credit for their beauty. Rivers don't expect payment for flowing. And the sun doesn't ask for applause for rising each day. Work gets completed, but there's no ego involved. The work happens, but no one takes personal credit, and that's exactly why the power keeps flowing. It's like being the foundation of a house. You support everything, but you don't need recognition to do your job well. 3. Leading without controlling. Want to prevent people from competing destructively? Don't make a big show of promoting only the special ones. Want to stop theft? Don't obsess over rare, expensive things. Want to keep people's minds at peace? Don't constantly wave tempting distractions in front of them. Therefore, wise leaders empty people's minds of anxiety, fill their bellies with contentment, soften their aggressive impulses, and strengthen their inner resilience. The goal is to keep people from overthinking everything and from being driven by endless cravings. And for those who think they know it all, help them understand that rushing into action based on limited knowledge usually backfires. When everyone stops trying to force outcomes, natural harmony emerges. Think of it like being a gardener. You create the right conditions and let things grow naturally, rather than trying to force flowers to bloom. 4. The power of emptiness. The way is like an empty vessel, and in using it, we must be careful not to overfill it. How deep and mysterious it is, like the ancient ancestor of everything that exists. We should soften our sharp edges, untangle our complications, tone down our brightness, and blend in with the ordinary world around us. How pure and still the way is, as if it could continue forever. I don't know where it came from. It seems like it might have existed before even the concept of God. It's like a well. Its usefulness comes from the empty space inside, not from the stone walls around it. 5. Natural indifference. Heaven and earth aren't sentimental. They treat all things equally, like grass in a field. Wise people aren't playing favorites either. They deal with everyone the same way. Isn't the space between heaven and earth like a bellows? It's empty, but it never loses its power. The more it moves, the more it produces. Too much talking leads to exhaustion. Better to guard your inner space and keep it free. Nature doesn't have favorites among the flowers, or mourn more for oak trees than for weeds. It simply lets everything be what it is. 6. The eternal feminine. The valley spirit never dies. We call this the eternal feminine mystery. Its gateway is the root from which heaven and earth grew. It continues forever, gently working without strain or force. Think of it like a mountain valley, always receiving, always nurturing, never trying to prove anything, yet sustaining all life within it. 7. Leading from behind. Heaven lasts long, and earth endures because they don't live for themselves. That's the secret of their longevity. So wise people put themselves last, yet end up in front. They treat themselves as unimportant, yet remain secure. Isn't it because they're not obsessed with personal gain that they actually achieve their goals? It's like being the person who always helps others succeed. Somehow you end up being the one everyone turns to for guidance. 8. Be like water. The highest excellence is like water. Water benefits everything and doesn't compete. It flows to low places that everyone else avoids. This is why its way is close to the way. Excellence in living means choosing the right place, thinking with depth, associating with good people, governing with integrity, working with skill, and moving at the right time. When you don't fight over position, nobody finds fault with you. Water doesn't try to be impressive, but it carves canyons and sustains all life. Meanwhile, precious stones just sit there looking beautiful, but doing nothing useful. 9. Know when to stop. Better to stop pouring before the cup overflows. If you keep sharpening a blade, it won't stay sharp for long. When your house is full of gold and jade, you can't keep it secure. When wealth and status make you arrogant, you're asking for trouble. When your work succeeds and your reputation grows, it's time to step back. That's the way of heaven. It's like knowing when to stop eating at a feast. Stop while you still feel good, and you'll remember the meal fondly. Keep going, and you'll feel sick. 10. Unity and simplicity. When your thinking mind and your intuitive soul work together, they won't separate. When you focus completely on your breathing and make it soft and flexible, you become like a newborn baby. When you clear away mental clutter, you become flawless. In loving people and governing, can you act without ulterior motives? When opportunities open and close, can you remain receptive? When your intelligence reaches everywhere, can you appear to know nothing? The way produces everything and nourishes it, creates without claiming ownership, acts without boasting, leads without controlling. This is called the mysterious power. Like a master craftsman who makes beautiful things but doesn't sign them, the work speaks for itself. 11. The value of emptiness. 30 spokes join at the hub, but it's the empty center that makes the wheel useful. Clay is shaped into a pot, but it's the hollow space inside that holds things. Walls with doors and windows make a room, but it's the empty space within that you can live in. So what has substance serves for usefulness, but what has no substance makes it truly valuable. The most important part of a cup isn't the ceramic, it's the emptiness that holds your tea. 12. The trap of the senses. Colors can blind your eyes, sounds can deafen your ears, flavors can dull your taste, racing and hunting can drive you mad, and rare treasures can lead you astray. Therefore, wise people satisfy real hunger rather than chasing endless pleasures. They choose substance over spectacle. It's like the difference between eating a simple, nourishing meal and gorging yourself on candy. One satisfies, the other just creates more craving. 13. Beyond honor and disgrace. Favor and disgrace should both be viewed with caution.
Honor and disaster should be seen as personal conditions of the same type. What do I mean by treating favor and disgrace the same? Disgrace comes from being in a low position after enjoying favor. Getting favor makes you worry about losing it, and losing it makes you fear something worse.
What makes me vulnerable to great disaster is having this body that I call
Myself. If I had no body, what disaster could touch me? Therefore, someone who would care for the kingdom as they care for their own body can be trusted to govern it. Like caring for a garden, you tend it carefully not because you own it, but because you understand your role as its temporary guardian.
14. The invisible way.
We look but don't see it. We call it transparent. We listen but don't hear it. We call it silent. We reach but can't grasp it. We call it intangible. These three qualities can't be analyzed further, so we call them the One. Its top isn't bright, its bottom isn't dark. It moves constantly but can't be named, then returns to nothingness. This is the form of the formless, the image of nothing fleeting and indefinable. When we meet it, we don't see its face. When we follow it, we don't see its back. Yet when we hold on to the ancient way to guide present circumstances, we can understand the original beginning. This is the thread of the way. Like trying to catch your own shadow, or hold on to a dream after waking. The harder you try, the more it slips away.
15. The ancient masters.
The skilled masters of old had subtle, profound understanding that was too deep for ordinary comprehension. Since they were beyond understanding, I'll try to describe how they appeared. Cautious, like crossing a frozen stream in winter. Alert, like someone surrounded by danger. Formal, like a visiting guest. Yielding, like melting ice. Simple, like uncarved wood. Open, like a valley. Mysterious, like muddy water. Who can make muddy water clear? Let it be still, and clarity will gradually emerge. Who can create perfect rest? Let movement continue, and stillness will naturally arise. Those who follow this way don't try to be full of themselves. Because they're not trying to appear complete, they can seem worn and humble rather than new and perfect. Like an old tree that's weathered many storms, not flashy or showy, but deeply rooted and quietly strong. 16. Returning to the root. Reach the ultimate emptiness and maintain perfect stillness. All things rise and flourish, and we watch them return to their source. This returning to the source is called stillness, and this stillness is fulfilling their destiny. Understanding this constant return is wisdom. Not understanding it leads to reckless action and trouble. Knowing this pattern creates tolerance, and tolerance leads to fairness. Fairness leads to leadership. Leadership leads to harmony with heaven. Harmony with heaven leads to the way, and the way leads to lasting peace. Even when the body dies, there's no danger. Like watching the seasons, spring's growth, summer's abundance, autumn's release, winter's rest, then spring again. Fighting this cycle brings suffering. Flowing with it brings peace.
17. The best leaders.
In ancient times, people barely knew their leaders existed. In the next era, people loved and praised their leaders. Later, they feared them. Finally, they despised them. When leaders lacked integrity, people lost faith in them. The best leaders were thoughtful with their words. They accomplished their work and achieved success while people said, "We did this ourselves." Like the best teachers, students leave thinking they learned everything on their own, never realizing how skillfully they were guided. 18. When the way is lost. When people stopped following the great way, concepts like kindness and justice became necessary. When cleverness and cunning appeared, great hypocrisy followed. When family harmony broke down, filial devotion became important. When countries fell into chaos, loyal patriots emerged. It's like needing to post signs saying, "Please don't litter." You only need the rule when people have forgotten how to behave naturally. 19. Return to simplicity. If we could abandon our obsession with being clever and discard our constant scheming, people would be 100 times better off. If we could let go of forced kindness and artificial righteousness, people would naturally return to genuine care and respect. If we could stop making complicated plans for profit, there would be no thieves or robbers. These three approaches might seem insufficient. So here's what really matters. See simply, embrace genuineness, reduce selfishness, and minimize desires.
Like cleaning out a cluttered room, sometimes you have to throw away the useful stuff to find what you actually need. 20. Standing apart.
When we stop trying to learn everything, we have no troubles. What's the difference between a polite yes and flattering agreement? What's the space between good and evil?
What everyone fears, I should fear too. But how vast and endless these questions are.
Other people seem happy and satisfied, like they're enjoying a great feast or climbing a tower in spring. I alone seem listless and still, like a baby who hasn't yet smiled. I look lost and homeless. Everyone else seems to have plenty, while I seem to have lost everything. I have the mind of a fool, completely confused. Ordinary people appear bright and sharp, while I seem dim. They seem full of certainty, while I'm dull and muddled. I drift like the ocean, blown about like I have nowhere to rest. Everyone else has their purpose, while I seem useless and crude.
I alone am different from others, because I value the nourishing mother, the way.
Like being the only person at a party who's not pretending to have a great time. Uncomfortable, but maybe seeing something others miss. 21. Following the way. The greatest power comes from the way alone. The way itself is elusive and indefinable. We can't see it, we can't touch it. Yet within this elusiveness are forms and images. Within this indefinability are things and essences. Within this darkness and depth are the seeds of truth. These seeds have always been reliable. From ancient times until now, they've never disappeared. Through them, we can understand the beginning of all things. How do I know this is true about everything that exists? Through this very understanding. Like knowing spring will come, not because you can see it, but because you understand the deeper pattern that never changes. 22. The paradox of wholeness. The incomplete becomes complete. The crooked becomes straight. The empty becomes full. The worn becomes new. Having little means gaining much. Having much means becoming confused. Therefore, wise people embrace unity and become examples for the world. They don't show off, so they shine. They don't assert themselves, so they stand out. They don't brag, so their merit is recognized. They don't compete, so no one can compete with them. That ancient saying, the incomplete becomes complete, wasn't spoken carelessly. Real completion includes everything, like a cracked pot that lets light shine through. Sometimes our broken places become our most beautiful features. 23. Natural action. Speaking little follows the natural way. A violent wind doesn't last all morning. A sudden rainstorm doesn't last all day. What causes these? Heaven and earth. If heaven and earth can't make extreme actions last, how much less can humans? So when you're following the way, those who also follow it will agree with you. Those who follow virtue will agree with your virtue. Those who follow loss will agree with your loss. When you don't have enough faith, others won't have faith in you either. Like a tree that bends with strong wind, rather than fighting it, it survives the storm while rigid trees break. 24. Excessive effort backfires. Standing on tiptoes doesn't make you stable. Taking huge strides doesn't help you walk well. Showing off doesn't make you shine. Being pushy doesn't make you stand out. Bragging doesn't get your merit recognized. Being arrogant doesn't make you superior. From the perspective of the way, these behaviors are like leftover food or unwanted growths. Everyone dislikes them. So those who follow the way avoid them completely. Like trying too hard to be funny at a party. The more you force it, the more awkward it becomes. 25. The Great Mother, something undefined and complete, existed before heaven and earth. Silent and formless. It stands alone and unchanging, reaching everywhere without being exhausted. It can be considered the mother of everything. I don't know its name, so I call it the way. If I had to describe it further, I'd call it great. Being great, it flows onward. Flowing onward, it becomes distant. Becoming distant, it returns. So the way is great. Heaven is great. Earth is great. And the wise ruler is also great. In the universe, There are four great things, and the wise ruler is one of them. Humans follow the laws of earth. Earth follows the laws of heaven. Heaven follows the laws of the way. And the way follows its own nature. Like the ocean, vast, deep, constantly moving, the source of all rivers, yet following simple laws of gravity and tide. 26. Gravity and lightness. Heaviness is the root of lightness. Stillness is the master of movement. Therefore, a wise traveler walks all day without leaving their centered calm. Even when surrounded by magnificent sights, they remain peaceful and detached. How can the leader of 10,000 chariots treat their position lightly? Acting lightly loses your foundation. Moving hastily loses your leadership. Like a great mountain, it can support forests, rivers, and wildlife precisely because it remains solid and unmoved at its base. 27. Skillful action. A skilled traveler leaves no tracks. A skilled speaker gives no cause for criticism. A skilled counter needs no tools. A skilled closer needs no locks. Yet what they close can't be opened. A skilled binder uses no ropes. Yet what they bind can't be untied. Similarly, wise people are always skillful at helping others, so they don't abandon anyone. They're always skillful at saving things, so they don't waste anything. This is called hiding the light. Therefore, the skillful person teaches the unskillful, and the unskillful person assists the skillful. If the teacher isn't respected and the student doesn't appreciate the help, even an intelligent observer would be greatly confused. This is a profound mystery, like a master chef who makes cooking look effortless. Every movement has purpose, nothing is wasted, and the result seems like magic. 28. Returning to simplicity. Know your strength, but keep your softness. Become a valley that receives everything under heaven. Being such a valley, constant virtue never leaves you, and you return to the state of a newborn child. Know your brightness, but stay in the darkness. Become a pattern for the world. Being such a pattern, constant virtue never wavers, and you return to the limitless. Know your honor, but keep your humility. Become a valley for the world. Being such a valley, constant virtue is fulfilled, and you return to the simplicity of uncarved wood. When uncarved wood is divided, it becomes useful tools. When the wise person is employed, they become the head of all officials. The greatest governing uses no force. Like a river valley that receives all streams without judgment, high water, low water, clean water, muddy water, and transforms everything into life-giving flow. 29. Not forcing the kingdom. If someone wants to take over the world and manipulate it, I see that they won't succeed. The world is a sacred vessel. It can't be manipulated. Those who try to control it destroy it. Those who try to grasp it lose it. Sometimes things are ahead, sometimes behind. Sometimes they're warm, sometimes cold. Sometimes they're strong, sometimes weak. Sometimes they're up, sometimes down. Therefore, wise people avoid extremes, avoid excess, and avoid arrogance. Like trying to control the weather. You can prepare for it, work with it, even predict it sometimes, but trying to force it only brings frustration. 30. No unnecessary force. Those who help a leader with the way don't use military force to dominate the world. Such actions always backfire. Where armies camp, thorns and brambles grow. After great battles, bad years follow. A skilled leader achieves what's necessary and stops. They don't dare to take things further. They achieve their goal without boasting, without arrogance, without pride. They act from necessity, not from desire for conquest. When things reach their peak strength, they begin to decline. This isn't in harmony with the way, and what goes against the way comes to an early end. Like pruning a tree, you cut what's necessary for health and growth, but cutting too much kills the tree. 31. Weapons as tools of sorrow. Weapons, however beautiful, are tools of misfortune, hateful to all creatures. Those who follow the way don't use them willingly. In peaceful times, the left side is the place of honor. In war, the right side takes precedence. Weapons are tools of misfortune, not tools for those who follow the way. They use them only when absolutely necessary, and even then with calm restraint. Victory through violence is not desirable. To think it desirable is to delight in killing people,
and those who delight in killing cannot succeed in the world. In celebrations, the left side is honored. In mourning, the right side. The second in command stands on the left, the general on the right, in the position of mourning. Those who have killed many should weep with bitter grief, and victory should be observed like a funeral rite, like a surgeon's knife, sometimes necessary to save life, but never something to celebrate or use carelessly. 32. The nameless way. The way, in its eternal aspect, has no name. Though simple in its original state, nothing in the world dares treat it as secondary. If leaders could hold on to it, everything would naturally submit. Heaven and earth would unite and send down sweet dew, which would reach everywhere equally, without human direction. As soon as we start organizing and naming things, names appear. Once names exist, we should know when to stop. Knowing when to stop prevents danger. The way's relationship to the world is like great rivers and seas to mountain streams. Like the source of a great river, unnamed, unmarked, but feeding all the waters that flow to the sea. 33. Self-knowledge. Knowing others shows intelligence. Knowing yourself shows wisdom. Overcoming others shows strength. Overcoming yourself shows real power. Being content with what you have shows wealth. Continuing with determination shows a strong will. Staying true to your position ensures longevity. Dying without losing your essence achieves immortality. Like the difference between winning a debate and changing your own mind. One shows you can think, the other shows you can grow. 34. The greatness of humility. The great way flows everywhere, left and right, high and low. All things depend on it for life, and it doesn't refuse them. It accomplishes its work without claiming credit. It provides for all things without playing master. Since it never claims greatness, it achieves true greatness. All things return to it, yet it doesn't control their return. Because wise people don't try to be great, they achieve true greatness. Like the sun, it gives light and warmth to everything equally, asks for nothing in return, and never announces how important it is. 35. The attraction of the way. Hold on to the great image of the way, and the whole world will come to you. They'll come and receive no harm, but find peace, safety, and ease. Music and fine food make travelers pause, but the way seems tasteless and plain when spoken. You can't see much when you look at it. You can't hear much when you listen to it. But when you use it, it's inexhaustible. Like clean water, it doesn't look like much, has no flavor to brag about, but it's exactly what every living thing needs most. 36. The subtle light. When you want to shrink something, first let it expand. When you want to weaken something, first let it grow strong. When you want to overthrow something, first let it rise up. When you want to take something away, first give to it generously. This is called the subtle light. The soft overcomes the hard. The weak overcomes the strong. Fish shouldn't be taken from deep water. The sharp tools of state shouldn't be displayed to people. Like water wearing away stone, not through force, but through patience, persistence, and flowing around obstacles. 37. The power of not doing. The way never acts with ulterior motives, yet nothing is left undone. If leaders could maintain this, all things would transform naturally. If, during this transformation, desires arise, I would calm them with the simplicity of the nameless way. The simplicity of the nameless way brings freedom from desire. Without desire comes tranquility, and the world naturally finds its order. Like gravity, it doesn't try to pull things down. It doesn't have an agenda, yet it keeps planets in their orbits and makes rivers flow to the sea. 38. The decline of virtue. Those who truly embody the way don't try to show it, so they really have it. Those who lack the way try hard to display it, so they don't really have it. True virtue acts without intention and needs no effort. Lesser virtue acts with intention and requires effort. True kindness acts without intention and needs no effort. True justice acts with intention and requires effort. True propriety acts with intention, and when people don't respond,
it rolls up its sleeves and forces compliance. So when the way is lost, virtue appears. When virtue is lost, kindness appears. When kindness is lost, justice appears. When justice is lost, propriety appears. Propriety is the thin edge of loyalty and trust, and the beginning of confusion. The wise person dwells in the substantial and not the superficial, in the fruit and not the flower. They choose substance over show. Like the difference between someone who naturally cares about others and someone who follows rules about caring. Both might do good things, but one flows from the heart, the other from the head. 39. The power of unity. These things attained the One from ancient times. Heaven became clear and pure through the One. Earth became stable through the One. Spirits gained their power through the One. Valleys became full through the One. All creatures came alive through the One. Leaders became noble through the One. Without clarity, heaven would crack. Without stability, earth would crumble. Without power, spirits would fail. Without fullness, valleys would dry up. Without life, creatures would perish. Without nobility, leaders would fall. Therefore, the noble has the humble as its root, and the high as the low as its foundation. This is why leaders call themselves orphaned, lonely, and unworthy. Isn't this using humility as a foundation? Like a tree, the higher and more magnificent it grows, the deeper and wider its roots must spread into the humble earth. 40. The movement of opposites. The way moves by returning. The way acts through yielding. All things under heaven arise from being. Being arises from non-being. Like breathing, you must breathe out to breathe in. Empty your lungs to fill them. Release to receive. 41. Levels of understanding. When the best students hear about the way, they practice it diligently. When average students hear about it, they sometimes remember and sometimes forget. When the worst students hear about it, they laugh loudly. If they didn't laugh, it wouldn't be the real way. Therefore, the ancient sayings tell us, the bright way seems dark, the advancing way seems to retreat, the smooth way seems rough. High virtue appears like a valley. Great purity seems soiled. Abundant virtue seems insufficient. Solid virtue seems shaky. True reality seems changeable. The great square has no corners. The great vessel takes long to complete. The great sound is barely audible. The great image has no form. The way is hidden and nameless, yet it alone nourishes and completes everything. Like a joke that only makes sense after you've lived a little, wisdom often looks like foolishness until you're ready to understand it. 42. The origin of all things. The way gave birth to one. One gave birth to two. Two gave birth to three. Three gave birth to all things. All things carry yin on their backs and yang in their arms, and blend these energies to create harmony. People hate being orphaned, having little virtue, or being unworthy. Yet kings and princes use these as their titles. Some things gain by losing, others lose by gaining. What others teach, I also teach. The violent and aggressive don't die natural deaths. I make this the foundation of my teaching. Like a seed that must crack open to grow into a tree, apparent destruction becomes the source of new life. 43. The power of softness. The softest thing in the world penetrates the hardest. That which has no substance enters where there are no gaps. From this, I understand the benefit of non-action. Few in the world understand the teaching without words and the benefits of non-action. Like how water can split rocks and wind can move mountains, not through force, but through patience and finding the natural way through. 44. What really matters? Which is more important, fame or your life? Which is more valuable, your life or your possessions? Which brings more suffering, gaining or losing? Therefore, excessive love leads to great expense. Hoarding much leads to heavy loss. Knowing what's enough prevents shame. Knowing when to stop prevents danger. This way you can last a long time. Like someone who ruins their health chasing money to buy things they don't need to impress people they don't like, missing the point entirely.
45. True fullness.
Great perfection seems flawed, yet its function never fails. Great fullness seems empty, yet its use is inexhaustible. Great straightness seems bent. Great skill seems clumsy. Great eloquence seems tongue-tied.
Movement overcomes cold. Stillness overcomes heat. Clarity and calm give order to the world.
Like a master craftsman whose work looks effortless and simple, but whose tools never break, and whose creations last forever.
46. The danger of desires.
When the way governs the world, war horses are used to plow fields. When the way doesn't govern the world, war horses are bred at the borders for battle. No crime is greater than having desires. No disaster is greater than not knowing what's enough. No fault is greater than wanting to acquire. Therefore, knowing that enough is always enough. Like someone who has everything they need but keeps shopping anyway, always wanting more, never satisfied, missing the abundance they already have.
47. Knowing without traveling.
Without leaving your home, you can know the whole world. Without looking out your window, you can understand the way of heaven. The farther you travel from yourself, the less you know. Therefore, wise people know without traveling, understand without seeing, and accomplish without forcing. Like realizing that the peace you're searching for in distant places already exists in your own backyard, if you know how to look.
48. Learning and unlearning.
Those devoted to learning gain something every day. Those devoted to the way lose something every day. They lose and lose until they reach non-action. Through non-action, nothing is left undone. To win the world, be free from busyness. If you're always busy, you're not worthy of winning the world. Like cleaning out a cluttered mind, the more mental junk you throw away, the more clearly you can think and act.
49. The mind of the people.
Wise people have no fixed mind of their own. They make the minds of the people their mind. To good people, I'm good. To bad people, I'm also good, because virtue is goodness. To honest people, I'm honest. To dishonest people, I'm also honest, because virtue is honesty. Wise people seem uncertain in the world, blending their minds with everyone. People focus their eyes and ears on them, and they treat all people as their children, like water that takes the shape of whatever container holds it, adapting to serve, not forcing others to adapt to you. 50. Mastering life and death. People are born and live. They grow old and die. 3 out of 10 are devoted to life. 3 out of 10 are devoted to death. 3 out of 10 live but move toward death through their excessive efforts to preserve life. But I've heard that those skilled in preserving life travel without fear of wild animals or weapons. Rhinoceros find no place to thrust their horns. Tigers find no place to sink their claws. Weapons find no place to pierce. Why? Because such people have no death spot in them. Like someone so at peace with life that they don't create the very dangers they fear, they move through the world without making enemies of it.
51. Honoring the way.
All things arise from the way and are nourished by virtue. They take form according to their nature and mature according to their circumstances. Therefore, all things naturally honor the way and treasure virtue. This honoring and treasuring isn't commanded. It happens spontaneously. The way gives birth to all things. Virtue nourishes them. Nature shapes them, and circumstances complete them. The way creates without possessing, acts without claiming credit, guides without controlling. This is called mysterious virtue. Like a mother who loves her children not because she has to, but because love flows naturally from her heart. No force, no rules, just the natural response to life.
52. Returning to the source.
The way is the source of all things under heaven, the mother of the world. When you find the mother, you understand her children. When you understand the children, return to the mother, and you'll be safe your whole life. Keep your mouth closed and your senses calm, and you'll never struggle. Open your mouth and meddle in affairs, and you'll never find peace. Seeing the small is insight. Stay with the gentle is strength. Use your light to return to insight, and you won't bring disaster on yourself. This is following the eternal pattern, like returning to your childhood home and remembering what really matters. The safety comes not from the place, but from reconnecting with your deepest self. 53. Staying on the path. If I had just a little wisdom, I would walk the great way and fear only straying from it. The great way is very straight, but people prefer the side paths. When palaces are very splendid, fields are very weedy, and granaries very empty. Wearing fancy clothes, carrying sharp swords, eating and drinking excessively, accumulating wealth. This is the way of robbers and show-offs. This is definitely not the way. Like choosing between a direct path home and a scenic route through a dangerous neighborhood. The flashy choice often leads to trouble. 54. What is well planted? What the way plants well cannot be uprooted. What it embraces well cannot be taken away. Children and grandchildren will honor it for generations. Cultivate the way in yourself, and your virtue becomes genuine. Cultivate it in your family, and virtue multiplies. Cultivate it in your community, and virtue grows abundant. Cultivate it in your country, and virtue flourishes everywhere. Cultivate it in the world, and virtue becomes universal. Therefore, observe the person through the person, the family through the family, the community through the community, the country through the country, the world through the world. How do I know this is true for the whole world? Through this very observation. Like planting a fruit tree, the deeper the roots, the sweeter the fruit, and the more generations will enjoy its shade and nourishment. 55. The power of innocence. Those who are filled with the way are like newborn children. Poisonous creatures won't sting them, wild beasts won't attack them, birds of prey won't strike them. Their bones are soft and muscles weak, yet their grip is firm. They don't know about the union of male and female, yet their vitality is complete. This shows perfect essence. They can cry all day without becoming hoarse. This shows perfect harmony. Understanding harmony means understanding the eternal. Understanding the eternal means wisdom. Improving life artificially leads to bad luck. Forcing the breath with the mind shows false strength. When things grow strong, they age. This goes against the way, and what goes against the way dies young. Like a child who can play all day without getting tired. They haven't learned yet that life is supposed to be difficult, so they flow with natural energy. 56. The mystery of not speaking. Those who know don't talk about it. Those who talk don't know. Close your mouth, calm your senses, soften your sharpness, untangle your knots, moderate your brightness. Become one with the dust. This is called the mysterious unity. Such a person can't be manipulated by intimacy or distance, by profit or harm, by honor or disgrace. Therefore, they are the most precious thing under heaven. Like someone who has found real treasure, they don't need to brag about it, and they don't let others talk them out of its value. 57. Governing through simplicity. Use straightforward methods to govern the country. Use surprise tactics in war. Use non-interference to win the world. How do I know this works? Through observation. The more rules and restrictions a country has, the poorer its people become. The more sharp weapons people possess, the more chaotic the state becomes. The more clever tricks people use, the more strange things happen. The more laws that are posted, the more thieves and robbers appear. Therefore, wise leaders say, I don't act, and people transform themselves. I love stillness, and people naturally become right. I don't interfere, and people become wealthy on their own. I have no desires, and people naturally return to simplicity. Like the best parents, they create a safe environment and let their children grow naturally, rather than micromanaging every moment. 58. Hidden blessings. When government is relaxed and tolerant, people are honest and content. When government is strict and demanding, people become cunning and discontented. Misfortune leans on fortune. Fortune hides in misfortune. Who knows where it will end? There is no fixed standard. What seems right turns wrong. What seems good turns evil. People have been confused about this for a long time. Therefore, wise people are square, but don't cut others. Pointed, but don't pierce others. Straight, but don't stretch others. Bright, but don't blind others. Like how losing a job might lead to finding your true calling. Life's worst moments often plant seeds for life's best moments. 59. Moderation and deep roots. For managing human affairs and serving heaven, nothing surpasses moderation. Only through moderation can you return early to the way. Returning early means accumulating virtue. Accumulating virtue means overcoming everything. Overcoming everything means having unlimited capacity. Having unlimited capacity means being fit to rule. Having the mother principle of ruling ensures long life. This is like having deep roots and a strong stem, the way to long life and lasting vision. Like a tree that grows slowly but surely, it may take longer to reach full height, but it will weather storms that topple faster-growing trees. 60. Ruling like cooking. Small fish. Governing a large country is like cooking small fish. Handle it gently, or it falls apart. When the way governs the world, ghosts and spirits lose their power to harm. It's not that they lose their power entirely, but that power isn't used to hurt people. And it's not just that it couldn't hurt, people-wise rulers don't hurt people either. When both avoid harming each other, virtue flows back to both. Like handling something delicate, too much stirring, poking, and adjusting will ruin it. Sometimes, the best action is the gentlest touch. 61. The power of yielding. A great country should flow downward like a river. It becomes the gathering place for all the smaller streams of the world. The feminine always overcomes the masculine through stillness. Through stillness, she takes the lower position. Therefore, a great country can win over smaller countries by placing itself below them. A small country can win over a great country by placing itself below it. So some win by taking the lower position, others win by staying in the lower position. A great country wants nothing more than to unite and nourish people. A small country wants nothing more than to serve others. Both get what they want, but the great country must learn to humble itself. Like how valleys collect water, while mountains shed it, the low places become rich and fertile, while the high places remain barren. 62. The treasure of the way. The way is the treasure house of all things, the good person's treasure, the bad person's refuge. Beautiful words can buy honor. Noble actions can elevate people. Even those who aren't good aren't abandoned by the way. So, when someone is crowned as emperor and the 3 ministers are appointed, rather than presenting jade discs followed by teams of horses, it would be better to remain still and offer the gift of this teaching. Why did the ancients treasure the way so much? Isn't it because through it, seekers find what they're looking for, and the guilty find forgiveness? That's why it's the most precious thing in the world. Like a library that's open to everyone. The wise use it to become wiser. The confused use it to find direction. And no one is turned away. 63. Acting on the small. Act without forcing. Work without struggling. Taste without needing flavor. Make the small great and the few many. Meet injury with kindness. Plan for difficulty while it's still easy. Handle the big while it's still small. All difficult things in the world start from the easy. All great things in the world start from the small. Therefore, wise people never attempt great things, and thus they achieve greatness. Those who promise lightly rarely keep their word. Those who think everything is easy will find everything difficult. Therefore, wise people expect difficulty, and thus never encounter it. Like pulling a tiny weed before it becomes a giant thistle, small actions at the right time prevent big problems later. 64. Completing without claiming. What is still is easy to hold. What hasn't happened yet is easy to plan for. What is brittle is easy to break. What is small is easy to scatter. Act before problems arise. Create order before chaos begins. A tree that takes a full embrace to encircle grew from a tiny seedling. A 9-story tower began with a pile of dirt. A journey of 1,000 miles started with a single step. Those who act with force create failure. Those who grasp tightly lose their grip. Therefore, wise people don't act with force, so they don't fail. They don't grasp tightly, so they don't lose. People often fail when they're on the verge of success. Be as careful at the end as at the beginning, and you won't fail. Therefore, wise people want what others don't want and don't treasure rare goods. They learn what others don't learn and return to what others have passed by. They help all things develop naturally without daring to interfere.
Like tending a garden, success comes from consistent small actions, patience, and working with natural rhythms, rather than forcing quick results. 65. Simple wisdom. The ancient masters of the way didn't use it to enlighten people, but to keep them simple and natural. People are hard to govern when they have too much knowledge. Governing through cleverness brings disaster to the country. Not governing through cleverness brings blessing. Understanding these two approaches gives you the pattern and standard. Being able to understand this pattern is called mysterious virtue. Mysterious virtue is deep and far-reaching. It seems opposite to things, but it leads to great harmony. Like the difference between a complicated machine that breaks easily and a simple tool that lasts forever. Sometimes less sophistication means more reliability. 6. Leading from below. Rivers and seas can rule over all the valley streams because they skillfully place themselves below them. This is how they become kings of all waters. Therefore, if wise people want to lead others, they speak humbly. If they want to guide others, they place themselves behind. In this way, though they're above others, people don't feel oppressed. Though they're in front, people don't feel pushed. Therefore, everyone happily supports them and never tires of them. Because they don't compete, no one can compete against them. Like how the ocean doesn't need to chase rivers. By being low and vast, it naturally draws all waters to itself. 67. The three treasures. Everyone says my way is great, but seems different from others. It's precisely because it's great that it seems different. If it were like everything else, it would have proven its smallness long ago. I have three treasures that I guard and keep. The first is compassion. The second is frugality. The third is not daring to be first in the world. From compassion comes courage. From frugality comes generosity. From not daring to be first comes true leadership. Today, people abandon compassion but try to be brave. They abandon frugality but try to be generous. They abandon humility but try to be leaders. This leads to death. Compassion wins in battle and holds firm in defense. Heaven saves those it loves by surrounding them with compassion. Like a mother protecting her children, the strength comes not from aggression, but from the power of genuine care. 68. The virtue of not competing. The best warrior isn't warlike. The best fighter doesn't get angry. The best winner doesn't compete. The best leader serves others. This is called the virtue of not competing. This is called using others' abilities. This is called matching heaven, the ultimate achievement of the ancients. Like a master martial artist who wins without fighting, true strength is so secure, it doesn't need to prove itself. 69. The wisdom of defense. Military strategists say, I don't dare start a fight. I'd rather respond to one. I don't dare advance an inch. I'd rather retreat a foot. This is called moving without moving, rolling up sleeves without showing arms, grasping weapons without having weapons, facing enemies without making enemies. No disaster is greater than underestimating the opponent. Underestimating the opponent nearly costs me my treasures. Therefore, when opposing forces meet, the one who grieves will win. Like judo using the opponent's force against them, winning through yielding rather than opposing strength with strength. 70. Easy to understand, hard to practice. My words are very easy to understand and very easy to practice, yet no one in the world can understand or practice them. My words have an ancestor. My actions have a master. It's only because people don't understand this that they don't understand me. Those who understand me are rare, making me all the more valuable. Therefore, wise people wear rough clothes but carry jade in their hearts. Like a simple recipe that anyone can read but few can master. The ingredients are common, but the skill comes from understanding the deeper principles. 71. The disease of thinking you know. To know that you don't know is the best. To think you know when you don't know is a disease. Only by seeing this disease as a disease can you be free from the disease. Wise people aren't diseased because they see the disease and therefore avoid it. Like the difference between admitting you're lost and pretending you know where you're going. One leads to finding your way, the other to wandering in circles. 72. Knowing yourself. When people don't fear what they ought to fear, something truly fearful will come upon them. Don't find fault with where you live. Don't get tired of how you make your living. Only by not getting tired of life do you not get tired of living. Therefore, wise people know themselves but don't show off. They love themselves but don't put themselves above others. They choose self-knowledge over self-display, like being comfortable in your own skin versus always needing others to validate your worth. One brings peace, the other brings endless anxiety. 73. Courage and caution. Being brave and daring leads to death. Being brave and not daring leads to life. Of these two, one helps and one harms. What heaven dislikes, who knows the reason? Even wise people find this difficult. Heaven's way is to win without fighting, to respond without speaking, to come without being called, to plan calmly and effectively. Heaven's net is vast and wide, loose, but nothing escapes. Like the difference between a reckless hero and a thoughtful protector, both may be brave, but one rushes toward danger, while the other moves carefully toward safety. 74. The danger of usurping. If people aren't afraid of death, how can you threaten them with death? If people were always afraid of death, and we could catch and execute wrongdoers, who would dare do wrong? There is always an official executioner. Taking the place of the official executioner is like cutting wood in place of a master carpenter. Those who cut wood in place of a master carpenter rarely avoid cutting their own hands. Like trying to do a job you're not trained for. You might think you can handle it, but you'll probably just hurt yourself and mess everything up. 75. The harm of taking too much. People suffer from hunger because their rulers take too much in taxes. That's why they're hungry. People are hard to govern because their rulers are too active in governing. That's why they're hard to govern. People take death lightly because they work too hard just to survive. That's why they don't value life. Those who don't cling to life are wiser than those who value life too highly. Like squeezing a sponge too hard. You might get more water initially, but you damage the sponge and get less water over time. 76. The strength of flexibility. People are born soft and flexible. When they die, they're stiff and hard. All things hiss, trees, everything, are tender and supple when alive, brittle and dry when dead. Therefore, the hard and stiff are companions of death. The soft and flexible are companions of life. So an army that's too rigid will fall. A tree that's too stiff will break. The hard and strong fall down. The soft and flexible rise up. Like bamboo in a storm, it bends so far it merely touches the ground, but it doesn't break, while mighty oaks are uprooted. 77. The way of heaven. Isn't the way of heaven like drawing a bow? It brings down what's high and raises what's low. It takes from what has abundance and gives to what lacks. The way of heaven reduces excess and supplements deficiency. The way of humans is different. It takes from those who lack and gives to those who already have abundance. Who can take their excess and give it to the world? Only those who follow the way. Therefore, wise people act without claiming credit, succeed without taking pride, and don't want to display their superiority. Like a natural spring that flows to the lowest places, bringing life where it's needed most, never asking for recognition or reward. 78. Nothing softer than water. Nothing in the world is softer than water, yet nothing is better at overcoming the hard and strong. This is because nothing can substitute for it. The weak overcomes the strong. The soft overcomes the hard. Everyone knows this, but no one can practice it. Therefore, wise people say, those who accept the nation's shame become its leaders. Those who accept the nation's misfortunes become its kings. True words often sound backwards. Like the Grand Canyon, carved not by earthquakes or explosions, but by the patient persistence of flowing water over millions of years.
79. Keeping agreements.
After settling a great dispute, some resentment always remains. How can this be good?
Therefore, wise people keep their part of the bargain, but don't demand that others keep theirs. Those with virtue look after their own responsibilities. Those without virtue look after their own interests.
The way of heaven has no favorites. It always supports good people.
Like being the person who always pays their share of the dinner bill without keeping track of who owes what. You focus on your own integrity, not others' debts.
80. The simple life. Imagine a small country with few people. Even if they had tools that could do the work of 10 or 100 people, they wouldn't use them. They would take death seriously and not move far from home. Even if they had boats and carriages, they wouldn't ride in them. Even if they had weapons and armor, they wouldn't display them. They would return to using knotted ropes instead of riding. They would find their simple food delicious, their plain clothes beautiful, their humble homes comfortable, and their simple customs enjoyable. The neighboring country would be so close you could see it, and you could hear roosters crowing and dogs barking across the border. Yet people would grow old and die without ever visiting each other. Like finding contentment in a simple garden, rather than always dreaming of exotic destinations. Happiness is often closer than we think. 81. The paradox of giving. True words aren't beautiful. Beautiful words aren't true. Good people don't argue. Those who argue aren't good. The wise aren't learned. The learned aren't wise. Wise people don't accumulate things. The more they give to others, the more they have. The more they help others, the more they benefit. The way of heaven benefits without harming. The way of wise people is to act without competing. Like a candle that lights other candles. It doesn't lose its own flame, but instead fills the whole room with light. Final reflection.
The Tao Te Ching offers us a different way of looking at strength, success, and wisdom. Instead of always pushing forward, sometimes we need to step back. Instead of trying to control everything, sometimes we need to let things flow naturally.
Instead of competing with everyone, sometimes we need to find our own path. This isn't about being passive or weak, It's about understanding that the most powerful forces in nature, like water, wind, and gravity, work through persistence and patience rather than force and struggle. The ancient wisdom reminds us that life is simpler than we make it, that less can be more, and that the way forward often looks like stepping back. In a world that constantly tells us to want more, do more, and be more, these teachings whisper a different truth. Maybe we already have everything we need. The way isn't something distant or mystical. It's the natural flow of life when we stop fighting against it. It's available to anyone willing to notice how things really work beneath all our complicated ideas about how they should work. Sometimes the most profound wisdom sounds like common sense. Sometimes the deepest teachings are the simplest ones. And sometimes the way to find what we're looking for is to stop searching so hard and start paying attention to what's already here.